Hi, my name's Vivian, and tonight I'm going to be speaking to you about Steve Matkovich, sous chef of Acadia Restaurant. This is Chef Steve's third leadership role, as he has been both sous chef and executive chef at two previous establishments. At Acadia, Chef Steve is in charge of purchasing, inventory, hiring, training, and partners with owner Chef Ryan McCaskey on menu development. The evening I sat down and spoke with Steve, he had just finished a particularly grueling service. It was a Sunday night, and it was expected that they would have very few patrons and possibly even be able to close the kitchen early. Unfortunately, they had had some staff call in sick and had been hit with an unexpected amount of people in the bar dining area. When I sat down and spoke with him, I asked him, as a leader, how do you get through that kind of evening? They don't have the option of closing the doors or turning away patrons, so how do you get through that kind of night? And he basically told me that that's what leadership in a kitchen is all about. It's all about taking what you have and who you have to work with and making it work for the night. Sometimes you have to get creative. Maybe you offer less menu items. Maybe you tweak the menu a little so it's not as many components. And as a sous chef, maybe you don't expedite that night. Maybe you roll up your sleeves and fire, garnish, and plate the dishes as well. I thought it was really interesting that that was his leadership. It's basically that you take what you've got and you make it work. And I think that that pretty much encompasses what they've done at Acadia. Acadia is only a 10-month-old restaurant, and they also have a very young staff. And by young, I don't mean age, I mean experience. Over half of the employees are students, and on their main line, one of their fish chef is actually out of school for only about a year. What they've had to do is look at the skill set of the people they have working with them and develop a menu that's as technique focused as that skill set allows it to be. They've also had to motivate, teach, and push their team to put out the best menu possible. This has not gone unnoticed as the restaurant has just received its first Michelin star. With the prospect of losing some of its student workers soon, I asked Chef Steve how he plans on recruiting new employees and how they've recruited in the past. He admitted that in the past they've not been aggressive at recruiting. They have not really placed ads or tried to go out and find people from other restaurants. In fact, he said, it's been their hope that by being the best they can, that people will want to come seek them out. He explained how restaurants such as Alinea, Next, and the French Laundry don't have to aggressively seek out candidates. In fact, people look for them for positions because they want to come there to learn and become better chefs. And this has been the goal for Acadia. Now that they have received their Michelin star, they are being sought out and have received an influx of inquiries as to positions and opportunities in their kitchen. What Chef Steve is doing is he's going through resumes and looking for some key points. Among those points is looking at how long people spend in the kitchen. He generally wants candidates who've spent at least a year in a kitchen. This is because he feels that it takes about a year to learn all of the different positions. People who stay less than a year, he says, generally don't want to learn everything and or have had to leave sooner due to conflicts. Once he's found applicants that he likes, he sets up an interview, and if the interview goes well, they set up the stage. The stage is pretty much the most important part of the entire process. It allows them to not only assess the skill set of the individual, but also to see how well they communicate, how well they take direction, how well they take criticism, and how they gel with the rest of the staff. This is incredibly important in a kitchen. When we spoke about conflict resolution and conflict among staff members, this came up again. He explained that in his time working in a kitchen and managing kitchens, he has not had to deal with employee versus employee conflict. And he tells me that mainly this is because working the line creates a very strong sense of camaraderie among line cooks. A lot of times on the line is like being in the trenches, and it doesn't make sense to battle each other when you need to win the war. That said, the stage is one of the ways that you find people that gel together well and that fit into the culture of the restaurant. At Acadia, that culture is a quiet kitchen. They really believe in professionalism, and even when they handle mistakes and problems, it's done in a very professional manner. There's no yelling, there's no swearing, there's no plate throwing. When problems happen, they're usually discussed at the end of the night. At the end of every service, there's kind of a little bit of a debriefing, and they go over what went well, what didn't, and if things didn't go well, how they can problem solve it for the future, how to avoid it, and they kind of assess when should you be asking for help. If you're bombarded with too many tickets or you can't get a grasp of the technique you need to use that night, at what point do you ask chef or sous chef to step in and give you a hand so that things run smoothly? If there's an issue that they want to speak to you particularly about, they will pull you aside at a different time to do so. But during these debriefings, it's really about troubleshooting and problem solving so that everyone can learn, and it's not at all about this one person did this and let's all shame them. That said, I asked Steve about his managerial style, how he likes to motivate people, and how he likes to set the standards. And he said that his primary goal as a leader is to pretty much lead by example. He likes to be the type of worker that he wants his employees to be. He likes to treat people with respect, and he likes to treat people with dignity. He feels that we should all be there as partners and everyone should be trying to be the best they can be. He loves to teach, and although sometimes using corrective action is necessary, it is his least favorite part of the job. So he truly is not one of those managers who relishes joy from punishing people. In fact, he says that he's probably one of the most patient managers that there can be because he leaves allowances for mistakes. When he does crack down, it's if people are cutting corners on purpose, if people are trying to get away with not doing things, regardless of how it affects the quality of the dish, the food, or the kitchen. Other than that, he tends to be very understanding about there being a learning curve and about mistakes just happening because we're all human. His greatest joy as a manager really is teaching. He loves pushing people and he loves working with people, and he really just enjoys seeing everybody do their best and the restaurant be the best it can be. Right now, he feels like his management role is pretty much where he thought it's going to be. As Acadia grows, he's going to be taking on more tasks, and he feels like more of those tasks are going to be HR oriented, doing more hiring, doing more paperwork, and managing more people. We spoke a little bit about the lack of HR personnel in the food industry, and he felt that mainly the barrier is financial. A lot of restaurants have smaller staffs, and in his experience, he's only been in one place where they had an HR specialist, and that's when he worked at Bouchon. Usually those tasks are absorbed by either the sous chef or the executive chef, although he has pointed out that the industry has changed so much. So many restaurants have gotten in trouble for not treating their employees well that everyone's being very careful now about following the law and being legal and trying to avoid mistakes that even inadvertently can cost your business. In the end, we also spoke a little bit about stress management and coping with the job. And one of the things he said was that for him, because he has a lot of patience, he doesn't lose his temper. And because he played a lot of high stress sports, he tends to just stay calm. That freaking out or panicking is just a waste of time and a waste of energy. For him, he just finds it's easier to keep calm, focus, and try to be there for his staff. When asked what his advice is for people who are hoping to be future leaders and managers, he said this: treat people how you want to treat others, treat them with dignity and respect, and don't ask them to do anything you wouldn't want to do. He feels that in the restaurant industry, they ask a lot about, of their employees, and because of that, they should give just as much. They should give learning opportunities and the chance for everyone to grow as a chef and as an employee and as a professional. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my presentation on sous chef Steve Makovich, and I look forward to your comments and critiques. Thank you and have a nice day.